Update. Am I the a-hole for canceling a trip because my fiancé's ex and her baby are coming? Original post. I, female 32, have been with Kyle, male 37, for 2.5 years. We got engaged 6 months ago. Kyle has been divorced for over 5 years now. He was married to Elena, female 37. They have a son, Grayson, male 8. Elena has a toddler from a guy she met after her divorce and dated briefly. Ella, female 2.5. Grayson is a wonderful little kid. He has his room in our house and he is so loved by all of us. Kyle and Elena are good friends and co-parenting great. The problem I have is she is everywhere. Beside holidays and birthdays, which I understand, Christmas, Grayson's birthday, Thanksgiving, Elena and her baby are pretty much invited to any family functions, such as Kyle's birthday, Kyle's parents' anniversary, my birthday. Yes, Kyle invited her to my birthday, even our camping trips. I've talked to Kyle many times, but he thinks I'm being insecure for no reason and making a big deal about nothing. I booked a trip to Mexico for January for me, Kyle, and Grayson. Then, Kyle told Elena that on the last week of January, we will have Grayson for extra weeks since he is coming with us to Mexico. Apparently, Elena managed to ask him about our trip dates. Details. As on Facebook, she was posting about swimsuit shopping for upcoming trip. Kyle texted her and asked her if she is going somewhere that week too. She said she researched our hotel and I took advantage of the same deal as you guys. So I guess we will see you there. Haha. I told Kyle then we are canceling the trip and he said he can't because tickets are non-refundable. I told him that I'm not going. I want for once have a family vacation without his ex-wife. I want a family vacation without his ex-wife, but Kyle thinks there's nothing we can do now. We need to address this for future plans and be more clear about boundaries. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Why are you with this guy again? I know it can't be because he's that good in bed. No way in hell. Or maybe he is, and that's why his ex is still into him. He's got her hypnotized too. You don't have kids with Mr. Have My Cake and Eat It Too. You can walk away. I would strongly suggest doing so. Because they're not just co-parenting. He's banging her. OMG, I laughed really hard at the first part. No, he is not. Lol. He is okay, but not great. Overall, he is a very kind and loving man. He just can't say no, and his ex walks all over him. No, I don't have kids and I'm seriously thinking about ending this before it's too late. Because I'm nosy, why did they get divorced? If it's kid-related stuff, fine. But the rest? Is he actually inviting her or is she inviting herself and he doesn't like saying no? Don't marry him unless he starts having boundaries with her, or this will be the rest of your life. Not the a-hole. They got divorced because, as Elena said, they became roommates, even sleeping separately for years. They went for counseling for a long time, but they both decided it was not working out. Kyle moved out, trial separation, then they got divorced. She met another guy, got pregnant almost right away, then broke up with him when their baby was an infant. Not the a-hole. There's good co-parenting and there's this. It's nice that they're friends, that they and you are great with Grayson. But you not getting any alone time will drive you apart. And Elena's reveling in it. Elena is a single mom and probably wants to get back with Kyle. This isn't right. Your boyfriend is not looking after you properly. He needs to back up, or this will not work for you and Kyle. Kyle basically has 2 wives at this point. Opie needs to put her foot down, and he needs to grow a spine. My husband's ex would show up right after he left for work, at 6 a.m. She would bring me donuts, start cleaning and folding the kids' clothes, asking me my intentions with her ex-husband, since they clearly are still united in effort, blah blah blah. It was bizarre, but the donuts were nice. I could do without her just walking through the door though. Now for the update. First of all, thank you for every single comment. I read all of them. Kyle came home late last night since he was working on a project with his coworker. He saw me awake and got surprised and asked, "Is everything okay?" I said, "We need to talk." I basically told him that either he tells Elena to cancel her trip and establishes boundaries, or we are done. He said, "Oh my god, are you still on this? I'll talk to her for future events. Let it go for Pete's sake." I said, "No, this has been my life since we met. She and her baby are always in my hair. I get upset. You convince me to let it go this time, then it happens again." I reminded him that last June, we hosted Elena's baby's birthday at our backyard and paid for and did everything, and he told me to let it go. Where is the limit? Will she be invited to our wedding and be in a bridal party? Will she be at our honeymoon? Will she be at the delivery room when I give birth? He said, "We are both tired. Why don't we talk tomorrow?" I told him I can't wait until then. "Will you ask Elena to cancel her trip and tell her about my boundaries?" He said, "I can't make her do anything as she's no longer my wife. I can tell her you don't like her and you can't stand her. Happy?" I said, I don't feel like I'm ever gonna be your wife. She's more your wife than I'll ever be. She just doesn't like to put out, so you got me for that. That's how I feel. I feel so unloved. If we break up and Elena takes you back, would you get back together with her? He said, stop. You know how much I love you. Why are you saying these nonsense? I ask again and again. He said, what do you want me to say? That if I'm single, will I work things out with Elena? I guess. I got my answer. I gave him the ring and said, I'll leave tomorrow morning. He said, what? Are you serious? What is going on tonight? He started saying how we were gonna get married and have babies. He knows I left my previous boyfriend because he didn't want to get married, and he begged me to not leave before the holidays. He suggested staying and starting counseling in January. I told him, I really don't have energy or time for this. He started crying. I was awake all night crying on and off. In the morning, he made me breakfast and hugged me, which was so uncomfortable, and said, please don't end it permanently. Let's be in touch and work on our relationship. I told him, no, I just can't. Sorry. Again, he cried and left for work. I talked to my brother in the morning, and he and his girlfriend will let me stay with them until I find my place. I wrapped the Christmas gifts, for Grace and mostly and him, and left them under the tree so they can open them on Christmas morning. He asked if I'd at least join them for Christmas morning. I said no. As for the tickets, they were on my credit card. I'll call Air Canada today to see if I can transfer them to my brother and his girlfriend. I'm so grateful for letting me stay at their place. Sorry commenting again, but he legit wanted to paint you as the bad guy and say you didn't like her, instead of telling her that she was overstepping. Damn, OP. I'm calling it now. He'll get back together with her. Heal yourself from this relationship so you'll never accept crumbs for a relationship. That's what hit me the most. I'm gonna tell her you hate her and cannot stand her, instead of telling her that I'm his future wife and respect her boundaries. Throwing me in front of the bus. Wondering how his ex would react. Lol, I was thinking the same thing. She may be like, oh damn, I was just having fun stringing him on a bit and screwing with him, but now that OP has dumped him, he's going to be all up in my business 24/7. She may be getting exactly what she deserves too. Depending on what the ex-wife's motives are here, she may be like, dude, you never told me I was crossing a line. If you would have said I was making OP uncomfortable, I would have backed off. I thought you both wanted me there. Are you stupid? You better get her back ASAP, because I don't want you back. Or she may have gotten what she wanted all along, which is her ex-husband back, of course not acknowledging that the same problems that existed before are going to be right back. OMG, I'm so thrilled you nailed this before a wedding or a pregnancy. You were, indeed, just going to be third-wheeling in their prefab world. You deserve better. Go get it. Except Elena doesn't want to be in actual relationship with him. I think she wants the relationship but not the sex. That seems to be what the whole situation is implying. And that if Elena had more sex with him, OP's ex wouldn't have split from his wife. That's what I took from that. Or he was trying to create a sister-wives thing. One is his emotional wife and the other is his bandmate. So thank God OP broke up. No one should stay where they aren't loved. Well, according to OP in comments on her previous post, he isn't very good in bed, and she needs a toy to finish. So that may be why Elena doesn't want the intimacy part. Heck, OP said she was with him because he's a really nice and kind person. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ghosting my girlfriend of 8 years and not giving her money for our trip? So about 2 months ago, me and my girlfriend of 8 years took a trip together to Europe for 2 weeks. It was an amazing vacation and we had an incredible time. But after we returned, she started acting increasingly distant from me. She went to a wedding and had a +1 but didn't invite me or tell me about it until a few days before. Then she ignored my calls while I was away on a business trip and never texted to return them until after I got back. When she finally picked up, I asked her what happened in a very nonchalant and unaccusatory way, and she didn't give any sort of solid answer. When I pressed her about it, she always gets upset at me if I don't call her back, even if it's just like an hour later. She just screamed at me, I didn't feel like talking to you. How about I never talk to you again? And hung up. Tried calling her back, she didn't pick up. Sent her a text a day or two later, no response. At this point, something inside me just kind of broke. Like, we've had fights way bigger than this, and I've always tried to patch it up with her because I was head over heels for her. But this time it was as if the in-love feeling just vanished instantly. I think it was because her reaction was so unprovoked. 3 weeks later, she calls me and I freeze. I don't pick up. She starts sending angry messages telling me I better pick up or else, and accuses me of cheating. I didn't. I don't pick up because I know it's going to be an absolute crap show of a phone call. Another 2 weeks have passed, and I've kind of accepted that the relationship is over. but I feel guilty about not paying her back for the trip. We used her card while traveling abroad because mine has a foreign transaction fee. The trip was expensive, about $20,000 total, $10,000 of which has already been split. Stuff we booked before traveling. Essentially, I owe her roughly $5,000. Before the fight, I had mentioned, at least on 3 occasions, that we should sort out our finances for the trip, and if she wanted, she could send me her credit card statement and I would sort through it myself and then pay her back. However, she kept brushing it off and said we'd do it later. Regardless of how she acted, I'm a person that believes in always paying back what is owed ASAP, and I'm feeling guilty about it. Like, I literally will always Venmo people before they leave my sites. So my question is this: if we never talk again and I never pay her back, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. It's better to close out this chapter so you can start fresh. It also closes the door and doesn't allow her to use that as an excuse to try to get back in touch once her affair partner leaves her. And just find a way so that you don't have to be in direct contact with her for the funds transfer. I agree. You want to walk out of this clean and be done. I would send her a message requesting an itemized total of what you owe with receipts or credit card statements. If she doesn't make your best guess, and if you are feeling petty, send 75%. I think it is best to annihilate the ties that she can use to try to drag you back into contact. But you can probably duck paying her back if you want to. I'll defer the part about paying back the money as that has been addressed. However, I don't get it. 8 years together and then an enjoyable trip, presumably, and then poof, out of nowhere ghosting you? Something is not adding up. Even though suggesting cheating. But when? On the trip? OP, after 8 years, you should know her well enough to suspect what's going on. What do you think happened, if you had to guess? Everyone is jumping to cheating, but I wonder if she's pregnant. Either that or she expected a proposal. Now that I look at that, probably the latter. Especially if she was the one spending all the money on the trip. Edit. Thanks everyone for the input. I did read everyone's comments, but unfortunately I don't have time to reply to all of them. Most people are saying I should pay her back, though a good number are saying not to. I think I'm going to offer to pay her back one last time, via text. So there's a record of it. My previous attempts were just over phone calls. Many people suggested I just give her $5,000, which I think is my fault because I made it seem like it was pretty close to that amount. But in actuality, it might be anywhere between $30,000 to $7,000. And I don't feel comfortable ballparking it in case I overpay or underpay. As I said, thousands of dollars is significant to me, but nothing to her. So I think I'm just going to ask her to send her a credit card statement and that we both go over it separately to determine the amount. Also, lots of people said she's upset because I didn't propose on the trip. That isn't it. We've discussed marriage. She wasn't ready, and I had told her that I wouldn't propose again until after she told me she was ready. Last story. I blocked my now ex-girlfriend after finding out she was engaged and didn't tell me. But she's depressed right now. Just want to get this off my chest because this has been a whirlwind. My now ex-girlfriend, female 28, recently distanced herself from me, male 26, due to mental health issues. Of course, I was very concerned about this and tried to stay supportive without pressuring her during a tough time in her life. We slowly stopped talking. The relationship was newer, so I didn't know her friends very well. I decided to find their social media to see if I can stay in contact with them for updates about her well-being. My ex-girlfriend had told me during our 6 months that she doesn't use social media. When I found her friends online, I also found out that my ex does have social media and uses it regularly. To my surprise, I find out she has been engaged to someone since 2019. When checking public records, her fiancé's primary address was listed the same as hers. I was shocked and asked her about these things, despite her mental state. She denied the relationship and said they broke it off in 2020, to which I presented her with a photo of them in 2022. She told me she always lived alone and bought her place out of interest for seeing new areas, not living with a fiancé. She said I was being crazy and said it's none of my business. She told me to leave her alone, and I said gladly, to which she wildly kept on talking. I think she panicked and realized she was losing part of her support system. Part of me is shocked, happy, and relieved to have found the truth and GTFO of there before I get myself into a mess with this person. But part of me feels terrible for leaving her when she's struggling and most likely adding to it. I guess I will never know what the full truth is, or if she was even struggling. Am I a terrible person for doing this? When she's struggling and most likely adding to it. Sounds like she's the one throwing herself in over her head and then expecting others to pull her out. She lied. She got caught. She isn't willing to face the consequences, not the a-hole. I feel awful because I did genuinely want to help her during this time and be there for her. So that part kind of still stings and makes me feel guilty. I'm working on it. That's what her fiancé is for. Lol, valid. I'm happy to let him deal with that mess of a person. She gaslit and lied to you. That's messed up, dude. Isolate and work on yourself and your happiness. She dug her own hole by lying. Did you try to reach out to the fiancé? I did not, but I want to so badly. I feel terrible for the guy and I feel like he should know, but I don't want to create more problems. I would have never started a relationship with her had I known. Not sure how to approach that or if I should. I'd want to know if I was the guy she was about to marry. I'm sure you would too. Provide as much proof as you can and don't bring it up in an attacking way. This is a vulnerable and uncomfortable situation for both you and him. Was it an online-only interaction? I definitely would want to know. You're right. I don't have too much physical evidence. After blocking her and deleting our messages, I don't have much proof left to give, unfortunately. Now for the mini update. Did contact the fiancé. We'll let you know what happens if he responds.